Hello LinkedIn and hello YouTube. My name is Mike Flanagan and this is Earn Value. So I've been kind of struggling with what I should do as far as a video on this goes. My main goal in all of these videos is just to show that I can actually do the work itself. And it looks like most of this work will get done mostly in Excel. And I was trying to come up with a video where I'm not sitting there entering stuff into Excel, because let me tell you, this is not Excel. These are P6 videos. So what I decided to do is I am going to start with a real quick Excel sort of explanation. Basically, my initial understanding of earned value came from this site. This site has a pretty good example of they're basically constructing 5 apartments, and they have 1 year to do it, and they're expecting this to spend $500,000 on this particular project. Unfortunately, in 6 months, they've only gotten 40% of the work complete, so 2 apartments as opposed to 2.5, and basically they spent $300,000 to get to that 40%. So obviously that project has got some problems, but essentially you're just gonna have to trust that I know how to successfully put things in and do computations in Excel. But these are the numbers. Now, when I looked at that number, that actually, I'm not a big metrics guy, but when I look at that number, like if you can actually come up with a decent projection like that far out, that actually is really nice. Because if you are stuck going to the people who handle the money, and you're saying, hey, I need more money, it's like, well, how much do you need? More. I mean, like, being able to come up with that kind of a projection, that is really nice. So, like I said, I'm not a big metrics guy, like not a big fan of metrics in general, but that is really nice. And maybe I'm coming around to that kind of a plan. But either way, what I thought I would do now is to basically create another scenario, one that I can basically show, like, obviously, hey, you did a really good job at reproducing the numbers on their website. So let me show you another scenario that I made real quick. So this is a 500 unit apartment complex. The initial budget was $26 million. The duration was 10 months. And basically, we're spending $2.6 million a month in order to build 50 apartments. So pretty straightforward. It would probably not break out like that in the real world. I'm assuming there's a lot of costs up front, and I'm assuming demob is probably a bit pricey. And actually, I don't know. Either way, I'm assuming it wouldn't be a nice uniform $2.6 million a month. But either way, I'm gonna run with that as our spend. And what I did is I looked at earned value at 3 months. We would expect to see a spend of $7.8 million, and we would have built 150 units. But instead, we built 175 units, and we only spent $7.5 million. So maybe this contractor has done this particular design enough times that they know how to speed things up, and they're just basically under-promising and over-delivering for their customers. So what I did is I did the earned value on all of this stuff, and you can kind of see the earned value. I did 175 divided by 500, so that's 35%. So that's total budget is 26 million times 35%. That gets you this. And the planned value should have been 7.8, so that's your schedule variance of a positive 1.3 million, which I'm sure would make people quite happy. So your actual cost again was 7. Actual cost. That's always weird. I feel like it should be actual spent, but the actual cost in order to get there is 7.5. So that's earned value, which is that one minus that one. That gets you the 1.6. And then your scheduled performance index is 1.17. And if you look back at the project that was behind by a bit, you know, 0.8 versus 1.17, obviously you're doing really well. And the cost performance index is 1.21. And again, that project that was way overspent was 0.67. So, you know, that makes sense. And that estimate at completion, I'm sure would make people very happy to see that. Well, you're that particular customer, anyways. Don't know if it would actually be that, but you know, if I gave if I were an engineering firm and my client was expecting to pay 26 million and you know the current projection is they're going to save that much money, I think they'd be very happy. But either way, this is very, very easy to do. It just requires the most basic of Excel, skill set. But the question is, how do I put that into here? So what I did is I ended up adding a couple of more numbers onto the spreadsheet, and all of this stuff is going to become relevant in a second. But what I wanted to show you is this. EV that's the earned value cost. PV is right there. Schedule variance right there. Actual cost. So you can basically find you can find every one of these columns in P6. But let's put the numbers in. So first thing you want to do is you want to add a resource. You want to add a resource, then establish a baseline. I tried doing it the other way, and if you don't do it in this order, your baseline will be a budgeted completion of 0, and yeah, that's not really going to work out for you. So you do this. It defaults to, if you remember when we made the variable, made the resource. Basically, the default is 1, and since the duration on this is going to be 200 days, it's $1 per day or 200. So we're going to go back here. We're going to change this to 26 million. So 26, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hit tab, and there's our 26 million. And then we're going to establish our baseline. So if you remember, we maintain it first. You kids never had it so easy. And then we're going to assign it. All right, and there you go. So now you're good to go. The absolute minimum that you need to do is done, and you want to start that activity. We're going to go out to 30%, and if my math is right, 30% is going to be September 13th. So we're going to advance I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. Whenever I start an activity, I always do this. And the reason why I always do this is whenever you move the data out, it's going to want to also extend the finish date. So if you do that, it doesn't. So that's always nice. But we're going to move, and we're not going to filter. We're going to move the date out. And that was September 13th. So we're going to go over here. September 13th. The reason why we're moving it right there is we want this to be 60 days or 30%. So we'll select that, and we're going to schedule. And as you can see, it is 30%. So this is what it thinks the earned value is. That's the plan value, and your schedule performance index then would be 1.0. But we did better. So let's see here. We're gonna go under resources. Actually, I don't want to mess with that first. I want to go up here. Yeah. And this we said was 35%. So as you can see, Earned value then was 9.1 million. Planned value was 7,800. Schedule variance is 1.3 million. And we're in the actual cost right now. That's 9.1 million. In fact, it's actually 7.5. So the actual regular units instead of that is going to be 7,512,123. So that's 7.5 million. All right, we go back to our spreadsheet. The cost variance is 1.6 million. Schedule performance index 1.17. Cost performance index is 1.21. And this is where we get a little weird. So unfortunately, it's not going to calculate this correctly. The estimate is going to be the same unless you change it. And that's where this number comes in. Okay, so what I did there is I took that 21428,571. I took that and then I minus that. And if you put that number into the remaining, so that is 139. I'm actually going to move it off screen as I type it. It is 13928,571. So I'm going to bring that back over here. 13928,571. So I'll bring it back here and then hit that. And that gets us our really nice numbers up there. So as you can see, P6 will take the numbers. Some of it you do have, well, most of it, I'd say about half of it, it'll auto-calculate, but some of it you will, obviously you do have to type in that number right there and that number right there, and then you're pretty much good to go. One thing that I will say is I was kind of curious to know what would happen if I moved it out again. Like let's say that your client was happy with it and they didn't want to talk to you again until 50% completion. So actually, before I do that, let me show you this real quick. I told you that we are ahead of schedule. I didn't actually bring your attention to this. Our finish date was March 25th. Now it's March 11th. So that's another indicator that we are definitely ahead of schedule. And you can kind of see it right there. Let me extend this out a little bit and then go over there and take a look. So as you can see, the very thin yellow line right there, that's our baseline, and the red is our schedule activity. So yeah, kind of nice. So the last thing that I want to do is, well, first off, I need to change this since this is March 11th now. So I was sort of curious to know, like, what happens if you move the date out, like what happens to the numbers? Like right now they're perfect. Are they going to stay the same, or are they going to become something different? So we're going to go out to the 50-day mark, or the 50% mark, which is 100 days. So that's November 11th. So we're going over here. I'm going to change the date to November 8th or November 11th? Okay, so 8 November 21. 8 November 21. All right. I'm going to hit schedule. Ideally, these numbers shouldn't change, but we'll see. Yeah. That's kind of what I wanted to show you. Every time you advance the data date, so basically change the schedule date, your numbers are going to change. So not quite as glorious as you saw a moment ago, and they definitely don't match this. So whenever you're doing updates in P6, as far as earned value goes, just know that anytime you move that data date, your numbers are going to change. So what's going on in your spreadsheet is what matters the most, because these numbers could change. But anyway, I didn't have a scenario for the 50% mark. I did try maintaining two different baselines, because you can basically maintain another base. Well, I can't do it now since I've already advanced it, but you can basically create a new baseline whenever you want, based on the current schedule. So it's just that easy. You can then assign to the new baseline. But even still, the if I remember correctly, the numbers changed again. So again, can't say it enough. Every time you advance it, you make sure this matches your spreadsheet, because there's a very good chance it won't. But anyway, that's it. That's the last video that I've got. I might make one more. It occurred to me that I never actually did a video on like constraints and data date. I did just advance the data date, so I kind of feel like there's no way that you could guess that I don't know how to do that, but I figure maybe that and maybe constraints I might do a video on. There's a little bit to constraints, but I think I could cover that video in maybe 30 seconds. I kind of feel like if you know how to sequence activities, you probably know how to do constraints already. But it might be worth doing either way. But anyway, these videos were actually a lot more, I won't say fun to do, but it was a lot more interesting, and I gotta be honest, I didn't realize that I missed doing this. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sitting through what I think is probably going to be a lot more Primavera videos, video time than I expected. And wish you all the best. Thanks.